Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to go through my sketchbooks, just every single one that I currently have. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember and a few of my older books have gotten lost along the way, but I have a good few, 7 in fact, that have survived, so I want to take you along with me to look through them. Alrighty, so I do not know when this first sketchbook started. It is completely a mystery. As I even put on the marker, start day, who knows. But it was finished on 05/7/2022. And you'll notice that a lot of the sketchbooks are from 2022. I just must have been drawing a lot then. So let's get started. Yeah, this definitely started a very long time ago. I kept the sketchbook and just never used it for years. So, I don't know. Just keep moving through being a noob artist and all. Everybody starts somewhere, and that's part of why I'm doing this video, to show progress and that you do not start perfect. It takes a lot of practice. This is one of my first original characters. No matter how many times I've tried to redraw them, it has not happened. I keep trying and trying, and they just don't look as good as they did in this image, which is funny considering how old it is. And the Danganronpa obsession starts. You're gonna see a lot of fan art. I've only recently started doing my own characters more often. And so many of these are sideways, and I have no idea why. This is when I decided I was going to get serious about learning how to draw and started going through some of the more basic things. So here are head poses, eyes, noses, mouths, and my first attempts at drawing hair. This was what I called my first full attempt because it combined all those little practices I was doing. Yeah, this person does not have a lower half. Oof is definitely right. This was from my own Sanseiyu because I tried to make one because I was very active in the Undertale community. And even when I drew my own character, I forgot her ponytail as I decided to call out to myself. Then I was like, okay, I've clearly can draw people now. Not really, but let me from the past believe. So I decided to start trying to figure out hands since all of the other drawings had their hands behind their back. Typical artist pose when you're beginning out. So here we have my first real attempts at hands. I had a dream and just decided that that character needed to be drawn for whatever reason, but then I smudged it because I was using multi-liners and didn't really know how to use them, so I had to redo it. One of those characters from the beginning of the book already thought I had improved so much as to retry it. Honestly, the first version might look better, which is a little sad, but it's whatever. And now, get ready for a lot of sands. Now, Hanako would become a character that honestly I drew and redrew every like 3 months as a progress check, along with Kokichi, but I did him less often. And I still do draw Hanako as a progress check a good bit of times. He's just a fun character and from one of my favorite animes. A common pattern you will see at the end of my sketchbooks is that I often fall back into practicing hands. Because no matter how much practice I've had with them, they are still so difficult to draw. Hands and feet. I don't know what it is about them, but they are just very annoying. I'm sure a lot of other artists can relate. Whew, that does not even look like a hand. If anyone remembers that Eyes of Heaven TikTok trend, that's what all these attempts were for. I was still making YouTube videos, just not art content, but still wanted to draw in the video and was really obsessed with getting the hands right. And for some reason, I thought this was a perfectly acceptable final product. It looks kind of atrocious and she has no jaw. Honestly though, not bad skeleton hand. And to end this sketchbook off, Nightmare Sans. Still probably my favorite Sanseiyu. I haven't left the Undertale community by any means, but I don't really draw Sanses anymore. And that is the end of the first sketchbook. Alrighty, now here is Sketchbook 2. It was started on 5/15/2022 and completed a few months later at 9/23/2022. Here we have Toga, just inspired by an image on the left, just trying anything to practice. This is from Kotaro Lives Alone. I have a more recent sketch that is much improved from this one, so if you remember this timestamp, you'll be able to see the difference for yourself. So, I don't know who on earth this was supposed to be. I think at first it was going to be Taro from Yandere Sim, but I was struggling with men that day and still really wanted to try this moving arm thing. So, Unidentified Princess Lady has a moving arm. And there's where I covered up the pointy bit of the thumbtack so that it would not hurt anyone. But I don't know if cut off piece of microfiber cloth was the best solution, but I guess it worked. There's always a pattern when I draw these two that Levi always looks significantly worse than Mam does. Because I've drawn them a couple of times, and it's just the pattern. I know I've drawn him somewhere in here. He's probably further back a little bit. And there he is. Didn't take very long, though his shoulders are really broad. Proportions have not always been my friend. I'm still practicing there. This was going to be sun and moon next to each other, but I never finished it. Now, believe it or not, that character I said that I've never been able to draw right ever again, this was an attempt at them. Yeah, I don't know what I thought I was doing, but those proportions are not right. There is another attempt at them. Still prefer the original to this day. This was going to be a really elaborate Genshin-inspired drawing, and that was meant to be Kazuha's leg. But as you can see, I was drawing it way too big, and eventually just moved on to drawing Klee. This was my first drawing of Hanako that I was honestly proud of. It took longer than most of the things at that time, and I still think it's pretty good, especially considering how long ago it was. Multiple attempts at making kind of a Chinese dragon inspired original character. Never ended up going back to her, and I'm not sure if I will, but it was an interesting thought. And here begins the multiple drawings of Scaramouche. He is my favorite Genshin character, and you will be seeing him again in other sketchbooks, but this was my first real attempt at him. And for a first attempt, it's pretty good because his hat is a nightmare to draw in any angle. I don't know why they made his hat so complicated, but all Genshin characters have really complicated designs. This little comic is actually up somewhere on one of my social medias. I could not tell you which one. It may be on my TikTok, and I think it might be on my older YouTube channel. But I thought I was going crazy with comic, and I've thought about comic artist stuff for a lot, but whew, that's nope, creepy, nope, moving on. And then these are just little sticky note doodles when I was bored. Lot of BFDI, and some silhouettes that would later become inspiration for a different drawing in another sketchbook. This got turned into a sticker, which you will soon see because I boldly put it on Sketchbook 3's cover. Alrighty, that is the end of Sketchbook 2. Alright, now we come to Sketchbook 3. So as I mentioned at the end of Sketchbook 2, here is that sticker that was sitting at the back. And this one was started 10/1/2022 and completed 12/15/2022, so yet another one done in that same year. Alrighty. Teucer from Genshin Impact, looking for his brother. This was just drawn because Sans had been named Tumblr Sexy Man, I think it was, and I just decided to do it. I got bored. It happens. Oh hey, look who's back. It's Scaramouche, and he has so much colored pencil on him, he has made an imprint of himself on the other page. It happens. Actually, it doesn't happen. It's the only page it happened on. I don't know why it went that way. I said before that I'd thought about comic artist stuff a lot, and this was going to be like the main guy. He's kind of boring for a main character, if I'm being honest. But I made him and quickly abandoned him later. This was Halloween that year with that same character and this random brother that I decided he had in the moment. This is still the same character, but in a disguise. Looks like a totally different dude, which I guess could work if you're going for like the Lloyd Forger vibe. But again, very kind of basic. And look who's back, not even 10 pages later. It's Scaramouche. This was drawn when he was released, or about to be released, probably just when he was revealed. And once again, that hat is back to haunt me. This is my favorite Pokemon, but I cannot draw them. This was for Hanako and Tsukasa's birthday. I still think it's one of my favorite of their drawings. Honestly, I feel like all of my Hanako drawings are really cute. I don't know why. I just really like them. And this is the only time I have ever drawn Tsukasa, because it's Tsukasa. This was supposed to be the future girlfriend of that other original character. Yeah, I didn't like her when I drew her. I think after her I really started to abandon the idea. It was not it. He was supposed to be a criminal, her a detective. Little bit just, I just don't like it anymore. Practicing eyes, eyes, and then hands again, which honestly, pretty good hand. More hands, and a random foot. And that is the end of Sketchbook 3. Alright, so here we are at Sketchbook 4. This one was started 12/18/2022 and completed 10/15/2023. As you can tell just from the dates, I slowed down a lot when it came to actually using my sketchbook, and this is because I started doing digital art. And I am still more so doing digital art now, but I've kind of been going back traditional. It's a bit more back and forth nowadays. This is when I got Scaramouche when he released. It took so long to get him that I felt like I had to commemorate it by drawing it, which was an interesting choice, but it worked. So if anyone remembers the Soldier Poet King TikTok trend, this was for that. I'm sure if you scroll back far enough on my TikTok page, you could absolutely find it. But I would not look for it. It was a little cringy, but these were the two panels for it. This was for a drawing idea of Hikaru, Kaoru, and Haruhi from Ouran High School Host Club. I never ended up doing it, and honestly I've never even drawn any of those characters, but this was an idea for a drawing of those three. Here I was practicing emotions and thought Genshin sprites would be a cool way to do it. Now, at the end of one of the other sketchbooks, we saw a sticky notes for little silhouettes. They inspired what's going on here with me redrawing some of them on this page, making a more full pose, and then creating this guy who was a Genshin original character. He only exists this one time, and he was supposed to be a puppet around Sandrone long before she was actually introduced. So, personality and stuff wasn't super accurate. This was for a larger Akaza drawing. It's in a bigger sketchbook, but I will not be showing it on this video. It's very large, it's the only thing in that sketchbook, and I don't know why I did it in a bigger sketchbook. I tried it, but I haven't used that bigger sketchbook for anything else. Hanako eyes, Nene eyes, Ko's eyes, and then I tried to draw Akaza's eyes in the style of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun because I was trying to do a style study, but I never really fully went through with that. Now here is some Amori waterfall cards. Waterfall cards are super fun. I would encourage anybody who's never done them to do them. They are super interactive and nice for traditional art. So here we have happy Amori, ecstatic, and then manic, sad, depressed, and miserable, angry, enraged, and furious, neutral, afraid, and stressed out, which all of those are just the little emotion bars that Amori can get inside the game. Here's some more simple waterfall cards just of Scaramouche. It's just because I drew him and the page was looking pretty empty. This one honestly doesn't really work. It's trying to come off the page. But, little Scaramouche drawing. Alright. Here is a small little sketch of Sambo from Honkai Star Rail. Just trying more things in that style of that previous Scaramouche. Here I was going to do the same thing I did for Amori for Hero, but I planned it out but never fully went ahead and did it. This is when I started my first October art challenge. It's a challenge I do every October where you draw something for every single day of the month. I actually draw every single day of the month. I don't pre-plan or anything, which means the drawings are a little low effort because I don't have a lot of time a lot of days, but I find it more fun that way. So this is day 1. I think it was waterfall or something. Day 2, dinner plate. Day 3, overgrown. Day 4, celestial, and I did an Eon from Honkai Star Rail. Day 6, too much blood. Day 7, love bites, which I turned into a vampire bite. Day 8, flesh wounds. Day 9, puppet. Day 10, a cursed dog. Don't know if that's the prompt or just what I decided to do for it. And day 12 and 13, which I'm assuming is like portrait and gore. I'm not completely sure, it's not labeled. Day 14, smile. And just some random doodles at the end because I was ready to finish off this sketchbook. This is around when Digital Circus came out, so there's a few small little doodles of them. And that is the end of Sketchbook 4. Alrighty, so this is Sketchbook 5. It was started 10/17/2023 and finished 6/14/2025. Once again, doing a lot of digital art, so the sketchbooks get a lot less attention. And basically a full year and a half for this one, so that is wild. So let's go. This was where I put drawing ideas of stuff I wanted to do. Some of them have been done based on the check marks, but I didn't really go back to finish a lot of them. Here is my Digital Circus original character. Would you believe me if I told you that was supposed to be Scaramouche? He comes back, even if it's in a really weird random doodle. I believe some of these are the end of an October art challenge, or maybe the start of one. Couldn't tell you which. This was just after I watched Scott Pilgrim for the first time, and just love the art style. I think it's really cute. Hey, look who's back again! It's Scaramouche, you wouldn't believe it. This was when the faceless glitch was happening. If you don't know what it is, look it up, it's really weird. Here is when Has Been Hotel first came out, Season 1. And not even a few pages later, Scaramouche again, because I didn't like that other one, so I tried again. This is where I planned out for my original character, Viper. I like trying to plan all of my original characters with their own page, so this was figuring out her horns, her patches, lip piercings and whatnot. And Viper actually started from an October art challenge, so this was not her first design, this was more of a redesign for her to make sure she was fully an OC instead of a character created in like 2 days. This all is planning for other digital drawings. These are for a Kaniche drawing, this is for a Scaramouche drawing, and these are for a drawing of my other original character, Malcolm. You'll be able to see these in a later sketchbook because I printed them out and taped them into a sketchbook. This is planning for another one of my characters. His name was Sullivan. I did abandon him because I do not have a good track record of actually keeping my original characters once I make them. It is a mystery how I have kept Viper, Soul, and Malcolm. Odd Scar is right, but be quiet after this because we're gonna cut. I started getting ready to practice anatomy because I have just been freehand vibing it out for way too long. So started trying to figure out posing and whatnot. That was the pose inspiration for that. This was the planning for Soul. He had been in my head as an idea for about a year before I even touched planning him, and he's probably my favorite. More planning for Soul. This was the first posing for Soul, and it is a mess. This was the second attempt, and then I started drawing hands again. More hands, more hands, more hands. And this is at the point when I wanted to finish the sketchbook, so we have Queenie and Kinger. Whatever that is. A scrapbook type thing of Moondrop, Kokichi, Scaramouche, but Scarameow, whatever this leaf thing is, Aventurine, and then I decided to redraw Cordero Lives Alone, which if you remember from the first or second sketchbook I tried him originally, this is a lot better than that original one. And then this random, Hanako toilet bound one. Scuss is here too, I guess. Anyway, that is the end of Sketchbook 5. Now we are at Sketchbook 6. I actually made this sticker here. It's a bit more professionally done than some of the other ones you'll see me do. But little capybara sticker that I made. This one was started 6/18/2025 and completed 9/23/2025. This is a time when I was going back to actually using my physical sketchbooks. This is when chapter 4 and maybe it's 3 and 4. I can't quite remember, but whenever the newest current chapters of Deltarune came out, that's what this was for. Here are some digital drawings that are not featured in any other sketchbook. These are all the fandom-based ones. So we have that Kaniche drawing, the Scaramouche drawing, and some other ones that were not mentioned any other time. Here are my original character digital drawings. These two are Malcolm, his original and a more full-fledged one. These two are Viper. Here is Sullivan, Gloom, and Soul. This was thumbnails and planning for a larger digital drawing, which you will not be able to see the completed version of until the next sketchbook, I think. But this was planning for my character Soul accidentally summoning my other character Viper. This was the pose for Viper for that drawing, and then redone to a better pose. This was the attempt for Soul, another attempt for Soul, and another attempt for Soul. These were the background thumbnails for that drawing. And then I got bored one day and drew Mac from Date Everything. He is sideways because I was sharing my sketchbook with someone that day, and I wanted them to be able to draw the correct direction, so he is sideways. Let me see if I can put him a little more correct for there. There we go. Alrighty. And then I got really obsessed with Bungo Stray Dogs. So we have Port Mafia Dazai. And then here, actually I was wrong, it's not in the next sketchbook. So here is the final piece of that drawing that you saw the thumbnails for a minute ago. It's right there. And then this was just another random digital piece I did of Soul. We have Chuya in his corrupted form. Armed Detective Agency Dazai. And if you remember from a couple months ago, I did a bunch of Pokemon drawings for every type. I'm going to go through these a little fast because if you want to see them fully drawn out, you can go watch the Pokemon video from a few months ago where they are more in detail. I spend a longer time showing them, and you get to see them come to life on the page as I did actually film it. I know that's rare for this channel, but I did film this one. It was very intentional. There's a lot of Pokemon. This is why this sketchbook truly got done so fast, was because of all these Pokemon. Then this was posing for a Chuya and Dazai drawing that I never did. Like, I did a lot of planning for it, a lot of attempts on it, and just never really decided I wanted to actually go for it. This is some random style that popped up out of nowhere of my 3 characters. Then I tried that style with Chuya and Dazai. Tried it with Scaramouche because of course I did. And then some random character design type stuff. Zoe from K-Pop Demon Hunters, Mystery, another randomness. Yeah, people are hard. Derpy, and then I don't know what the crow's called. I know the crow has a name. I don't know what the crow's called. So, the crow. Then I did Run from 14 Days With You because it's a cute character design and I really felt inspired to draw him, so there it is. And then Redacted as well. Did Akaza. And then I was trying to do like a falling pose, just something I've never done before. And I definitely need to practice with the angle, but it's alright. Randomly decided to draw a biblically accurate angel. This was a request from someone online. This is posing practice. And this was posing practice for that soul digital piece that you saw earlier. This was also ideas for that soul digital piece. Still for that. And still for that. So that is the end of sketchbooks. As you can tell, this is my current sketchbook, started on 9/30/2025 and not yet completed. As you might notice from the last sketchbook, that wren that I drew got turned into a sticker. I brought it into Clip Studio Paint digitally and did coloring in there because I am not a person who can color on paper very well. I am much better coloring in that digital space. This sketchbook started at the beginning of the October Art Challenge for 2025. Again, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because there are shorts of every single drawing on this list, as well as a long-form compilation of every single drawing right here. So we're just gonna flip through them pretty quickly. This is actually the planning for the Pngtuber that you see talking right now. Started planning her out just like this, and then it was right back to Drawtober. This is the pose base for this Pngtuber. This was a requested drawing by someone on this channel. You can find the short specifically for this one. Posing for Zoro. posing for Zorro still, and final pose for Zorro. This was planning for a Chuya Christmas ornament. Final video of that ornament is also already up. This was the planning for my Scaramouche birthday art from a couple of months ago. And here is the final of the requesters art, the Zorro, and the Scaramouche piece. If you have not already seen it, you can get a better view of the digital piece on the short or long form video of that. This is the planning for a unfinished currently drawing where I'm going to make a button of one of my original characters. Hopefully I will complete that and you will get to see a long form video of that process soon. This is posing for it. Now, I got a Sakura Miku figure and wanted to keep the box art because it was really cute. And I had some of these translucent sticky notes. So they sort of just go over and create a full effect. I might not even have the right one going right here. But point is, they go over, that's the color, and then this side is the line art. It was a little bit of a mess, and I honestly thought that the Posca bled through onto the sketchbook. It didn't, as you can tell, but it was a little bit of a messy project. I want to try it again with a little more control, a little more thought behind what I'm doing. Alright, this is some planning for my Sally from Black Clover drawing. And then here is that drawing. Here is some planning for Humoris. And this was my first attempt at drawing Humoris the same day I did the planning. It was so goofy looking, so I completely overhauled it, tried again, and managed this one right here. And that is the last thing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that is the last thing that I've currently done in this sketchbook as of when I am filming. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, for going through my sketchbooks with me. It was awesome to bring you along with me. Bye! Vesper out.